given your background and given your experience here, we look forward to addressing some of those peculiar issues. If you tell me you are Komodo, you can appreciate the fact that education is like an industry. And then after 25 years in this part of the world, you can begin to appreciate the level, the gaps. How do you intend to bridge this gap in the educational advancement of the country, and when you propose it with the situation of northern Nigeria on one hand? Secondly, it is always easy to postulate policy, interest, and direction. But when it comes to implementation, you begin to see enforcement gaps. But I'm very proud to have listened to one of the commentaries on NTA. When you politely said, and I quote you, that when you commit an offense, you said don't commit offense. But if you do, I will send you to jail. Do you mean it? Thank you very much.
Okay. Education, the first question. Education is not the same thing as Western education. Education is a process by which a new generation learns the norms of the preceding generation and become functional in the environment which they are growing into. And if you are lucky, the talent of one or two people will come out and the rest of society will learn it. The educational challenge facing Nigeria, from my study of it, if you study the arguments between the Lagos elite and Lugard, you will notice that the energy that drove education during colonial rule was an attempt to replace Western officials. So we go to their school in London, Oxford, everywhere. We were trying to replace the colonial people with our own people. And we pay attention to that clerical education. Whereas other countries in the world who are making progress, their educational foundation is not just to replace officials, but generally to learn anything that you can learn, technical, whatever. Secondly, we thought that we had to replace our own brain with a white man's brain. So many things in which we have skills traditionally, we did not institutionalize the training. We just threw them away. So a person from a family of wood carvers or drum makers or whose family is doing tannery for 1,000 years will go to AREWA College, forget about the tannery, and learn philosophy and become a district officer. And then when he retires, he can't do anything other than moving fire from place to place. So we made that mistake. And particularly in northern Nigeria, the educational drive in northern Nigeria was initially driven by the northernization policy. To say that the gap between the educational population in the south and the north needed to be bridged so that the north could take control of the administration. So the same problem we have generally is what we have. So what I think we should do about this is that we must get away from that and go back to an education where is the systematization of the learning and retention of all kinds of skill, so that if majority of our people learn how to be plumbers, artisans, whatever they learn, just like Italians who are making 90% of the income of Italy will not attend a university at all. So I want us to have a different understanding. If you get to England, the population of the English people who have gone to university is smaller than the population of Nigerians who are going to university. But in Britain, if you are looking for a plumber, you get the best plumber. If you are looking for an electrician, you have the best electrician. So we must address that issue generally. Now, For the formal education, the clerical part of it, we're also creating institutions in competition with one another. So you have 10 professors. I too want to produce 10 professors. So this attitude will change. And one other problem with the government, and which one I'm going to change, because when we get there, we'll change it, is that education is taken as part of government running ministries. Education is supposed to be a liberalized system whereby every person, from the family to the mosque to the madrasas to local government, has input to make in educating people. And the idea that all the money for education must be in the Ministry of Education, I will deal with it. It won't be the case. The case will be that all traditional institutions will be able to run a school system. But what we were going to do in order to address the issue of education is that generally, the management of the economy must be such that teachers can live a comfortable life as teachers. Because if we are to be truthful, if you meet somebody for the first time and you are told, you ask, who is this man? He says his name is Salisu. What does he do for a living? He's a primary school teacher. You can conclude that he's a poor man right now. So that is what we need to change, because when we started education, the teacher will live on the same street where the governor or permanent secretary or anybody will live. So we cannot address the question of education without addressing the manpower issue. We train more manpower. We also make them to be able to remain as teachers and live a reasonable life, which means we will deal with the issue of inflation so that inflation doesn't eat all your wages. We deal with the issue of non-monetary benefits. A teacher should have a home. A teacher should have public transport to work. A teacher must have a livable pension. Lastly, we must be able to deal with the cost of living. So once we do all of those and put it down, people, the best talents, will want to be teachers. But right now, the best talents don't want to be teachers.
Thank you very much.
Okay, yes. Law enforcement is not a problem for a government. Law obedience is the problem of government. If you ask government to go and arrest 10,000 people, they don't have a problem. But if you ask the president to stick to his own oath of office, he has a problem. If you ask IG or police to go and arrest a thief, there's no problem. But if you ask the IG or police not to collect bribe, there's a problem. So what we need to do is that with the duty of my government, it is not to fight corruption on the street. The duty of my government is to fight corruption inside my government. So when there is no internal criminal in my government, the external criminal knows that he's 1 minute away from going to jail. Thank you.